Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. Great. Okay, guys, we're going to start the lesson. Um, Let me present right now. Okay. I just want to talk about um our drive. Have you entered to the week number one drive, guys? And here we have the presentations, the recordings, and the solutions of all the ERD diagrams that I have been doing in class and the ERMs. Okay, so here we have all the resources necessary so you can study um, something or you want to review something about the week number one. Everything is here. If you need anything else, for example, if something is not making sense, let me know. Maybe we can set up a meeting one-on-one so I can be helping you if you need um, if you need to solve something that you're not understanding, okay? Okay, so for this week, guys, let me open Moodle. Let's see. For this week, we're going to start practicing on our databases. We're going to be talking with the database a lot. We're going to use SQL, and we're going to create our first instance in AWS. Tomorrow, when everybody is in class, I will be giving you access to my organization. So you're going to have a username in my organization, and yeah, right now it's turning slow, but yeah, don't worry, Moodle it's giving us always a headache. Let's see. Okay, now let me tell you that I have been grading assignments this weekend, but I didn't have access to some Google Drive files. So please try to make sure that when you are sharing a link in here in Moodle, leave it as an open file that everybody can read it. For example, I'm going to give you an example right now. I think that Raylan, she has provided me a link for the answer of the answer that she has done, but I do not have access to the project. So um, I don't know if I'm explaining myself, but the link needs to be public for everybody to open. Does this make sense?
Yes, I'm gonna change it.
Please, please, because I was trying to check the answers that you have been submitting, but some of them they are private. So I wasn't able to grade everybody. Right now, all my grades are in an Excel file. I will be uploading these gradings um, maybe in the next 3-4 days. Okay. Well,
Okay.
great, excellent, guys. So let's start with the class. Oh, let me show you the content of this week. It's very slow right now, but like in simple words, we're going to be working a lot with the database, and you're going to be creating your own database in my AWS account. So I will be providing access as an AM user, and you are going to create your first database. Okay. I am going to upload a video. Right now, the video is here in the drive, but I need to upload it into the account. Let me see, where do I have these videos? Well, I have a video here in my drive that I'm going to be putting in in the in the um, in the November cohort folder, and I will be uploading that video here too. It's a video that contains a tutorial on creating the connection between RDS and your local computer and how to deploy your first database on AWS. Okay, so there are two videos that you're going to be interested this week. But in simple words, we're going to do a lot of SQL. We have two types of SQL. We have the DML and the DDL. The DDL is the first type of SQL commands that we're going to learn, so we can manipulate data and the DML is going to help us to model data. Okay, so you will see that later. Okay, now let's start with the class. And yeah, let me start with the presentation here. Now, the objectives for today are the next ones. We're going to understand the purpose and the importance of the ML instructions, okay? Data manipulation language. Now, we're going to learn how to retrieve data using select. This is the syntax or the command necessary if you want to get data from the database. If you want to add records to a database, you're going to use the command insert. If you want to update existing records, you are going to use the command update. And if you want to eliminate records from the database, the command that you're going to be using is going to be delete. So we're going to practice with these concepts. We're going to have some examples here, and we're going to integrate the ML commands to solve practical problems, okay? So everybody right now, guys, if you have your Supabase account, I will open it, the Supabase account. First, I'm going to drop all the tables right now, okay? Let me see. I will drop them because these were examples.
Do we need to delete our examples or can we keep them?
My recommendation, you can delete them. They are not necessary. Okay, I will drop them. And for the table creation, I will be continue using this wizard. I won't be using the create table syntax right now. So the wizard's going to be fine for this. See. Okay, great. Now, do you remember that on Friday we solved a problem about a gym, right? And we learned that we have the table of trainers and the table of classes. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, because we're going to be using those tables right now, those two tables for the example. Okay, so let's continue with the slideshow. First, there's another resource that I have here. Let me open this resource. It's a tutorial that I have here, place it. This is a website that is called Web3 Schools. It's a very helpful tutorial for every programming language that you want. For example, if you want to understand how to React works, MySQL, C++, C Sharp, a lot of programming language are here. So you can have like your first steps in the programming language. Right now, we're going to get introduced into SQL, okay? So we're going to use some of this syntax right now and some tutorials here. None of them are going to be read in the class, okay? But I'm going to be jumping around in the book, okay? So let's start with the first part of the tutorial. We need to understand that SQL, guys, I mean, first in this section about learning how to do SQL, we're going to have a section where you can get data from a SQL server. Okay, so for example, if you want to try this query, you can click here. And if you run the SQL command, this is going to return some data. Okay, so you're going to have like a small database inside of this book. So you can start playing around with the syntax and some commands. Okay, this is like the introduction about it. And we're going to have some quizzes inside of it if it's necessary, but there is another assignment that is called SQL Bolt that is going to help you to improve your SQL commands, okay? So this is like what we're going to do right now. And let's start with to understanding what is SQL. SQL stands for a structured query language. SQL lets you to access and manipulate databases. This is going to help us to organize, guys, our information in our project, okay? So what does SQL can do? SQL can execute queries against a database and can retrieve data, can insert records, can update records, can delete records, can create new databases, you can create new tables, you can create store procedures, you can create views. These are very common if you want to create a report. and you can create permissions over tables. Okay. Now let me explain you that SQL it's a standard query, but we can have some difference based on the engine where you are running the query. For example, Oracle contains some difference between Postgres, and Postgres contains some difference between my SQL Server. That I mean, the owner of Oracle, it's Oracle SQL Server. The owner is Microsoft. Postgres is open source, and MySQL is this one that we have here. It's another engine of databases. Previously, it was open source, but right now it has been bought by Oracle. So right now it's not so free, but you can work. I mean, you can install SQL in your computer. It's not a problem. But if you want to deploy an app that is going to generate revenue, you might need to pay a license so you can get permission to save data in your database. Does this make sense? About MySQL, guys?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we have several database engines. The language is universal, but you can have some difference between the engine. Okay. Now, you can use a server-side scripting language that is going to help you to create a communication between your database and between your project. For example, in ancient times, we used PHP. This is a very common programming language that's living in the web. It's called PHP. It was the first scripting language that helped us to create connections between databases and your project online. Let me explain you that Facebook, when Facebook was released, like in 2010, for example, it was created in this programming language. Right now, Facebook has been evolving, and the programming language that um, Facebook is using right now is Node.js and React. And React, they were the inventors of React, so they create their own programming language so they can have their own website with their configuration and the thing that they want inside of it. But PHP was the first one. Now, this ASP is another programming language that the owner of this programming language is Microsoft. Right now, this programming language has been evolving, and right now it's this one, C Sharp. C Sharp is very similar to JavaScript, but it contains data types, okay? Now, to use SQL to get data that you want, you might need to learn some syntax, okay? So I'm going to show you that syntax. And a word very important is this one that you need to understand. RDBMS. This is a relational database management system. This is the engine, or the server is going to contain the engine necessary so you can save data. Right now, Supabase, guys, is this one that we are using here. The engine that we are using here is called Postgres. It's the motor of the project. The database and the cord, the spinal cord of this project is Postgres. But there are several engines, and I can read here a list of them. This is one, SQL Server. The owner of this one is Microsoft. IBM DB2. This is a very common SQL Server if you want to create transactions in a bank. So for example, a bank is going to contain this kind of database. Oracle is very huge. So many tech companies here are going to be using Oracle. And another case of use for Oracle, it's this one that is that you use for so you can be calling and using internet. Oracle is inside of those companies. MySQL at the beginning was for you can do an open source project. It was free at the beginning but right now Oracle is the owner of MySQL. So if you want to deploy an app that is going to be generating revenue, you might need to pay something so you can use this engine. And another one that is very common, guys, that you can have in your computers if you have a Microsoft computer is Microsoft Access. If you has a license of Office, you can create your own database inside of your computer without any other installation. Now, these kind of databases, they are very like a toy database because you can save data there, but the only person that is going to access to that data is going to be you. in your local computer. You can now create a remote connection with them. Now, the other engines, you can create remote connections so you can use it for a project, for a real project. Okay. Now, this is an example of how a query is going to look like. And you will see that everything that is going to be in color blue, it's going to represent a reserved word in SQL. So the word select is a reserved word, and the word from is another reserved word. Okay. Now, the word customer here is going to represent the table that you're going to get data. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Great. Now, here we have the query. Okay. So as you see, these are all the columns that we have in the table. I don't know if you have noticed this, but this is a wildcard, and it's retrieving all the column of the table right now. But there is a possibility that you can read just a list of columns that you require. For example, if you just want in the query to return the ID and the customer name, you might need to put here customer ID and customer name. You will see this. Oh, sorry. Oh, I misspelled the word customer here. Now, do you see that right now, my query is just returning two columns? You see them?
Yes.
And it is because you can select several columns, but you might need to separate them using a comma. But if you want to grab all the columns inside of the table, you can just put a wildcard this way. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Now, another thing that we can do in our select statement is that we can rename this table, okay? And you can rename this table as a letter, for example, a simple letter like this letter A. And if you want to access to a column, you can put here A dot, like a programming language that you are trying to get the properties of an object. This is going to be an object, and you're going to grab a property from the object. For example, customer ID. Let's see the country and the A dot postal code. There's something wrong here. Let's see. I think this is not supporting the A, guys. So this is going to be applied. I mean, we can do this in our Postgres database right now, but this is an example. Oh no, there are more stops. Let's see. Let me see if something is wrong. No given value for custom. Let me see. Maybe I'm misspelling a word. Give me a second. A dot customer ID. A dot customer name. A dot country. Let me run this. Yeah, I was misspelling maybe a column there. So as you see, guys, you can rename the table. Yeah, you can put a single word from the alphabet, and this is going to represent from now on the table of customers. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we might continue. Our first command was select. Okay. So if you want to select data, guys, let me explain here the syntax. The syntax is that you might need to put the reserved word select, then the columns that you want to grab from the table, then this word that is called from, and then the table. Okay. So this is the syntax. This is a common syntax for every select statement. Okay. So we have this demo database that is online, so you can query it. Okay. We will be querying these tables. Okay. Now this is the first syntax. Now we're going to learn the second syntax that we have here in our objectives. The second syntax is insert, so you can add records to the table. So if you want to insert data here, guys, the syntax is very important that you need to understand that we need two words. We need the word insert and then the word into. Once you have that, the other part's going to be the name of the table. And inside of the parentheses, you're going to put the columns that you're going to be saving. So let's try to do a query here. Let me see. For example, in the table of customers here. For example, in categories, we have 8 records here. Let me see. We have 8 records and 3 columns, right? You see them? Now, if you want to insert data in categories, you can do something like this. Into categories. Remember, the syntax is that you need to put in a parenthesis the columns that you are going to be fetching, where you are going to be fetching data, okay? So here you might need to put 2 columns. Remember that all the IDs, they are auto-incremented. So the 2 columns that we need to save data are going to be the category name and the description, okay? Does this make sense?
Yes.
Now, once you have the columns that you're going to be impacting, you need to put the value. And in the value, you're going to match the column and the value that you want to save. So in this category name, you might need to put something here. This first value is going to be it's going to be generating something in the database in this column, okay? So let me see, this is like a category of kind of foods, right? So I'm gonna create a new category. This is gonna be my category. And the description is gonna be my description. Let's run this query. Let's see. Insert into category. The word values here. Use an updatable queries. Oh, I cannot do a transaction here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create my table here. I'm going to create a table, and the table is going to be the trainers table. I will disable this part. Let me put the name of the trainer. This is going to be a text data type. I'm going to add right now the phone number. Again, this is going to be a varchar. Let's see if we can change here. Let me change it to text. Now let me put here the specialization. Another time is going to be text here. Okay. So let me create the table right now. Okay, so if I want to insert data in the table of trainers, let me put the table editor here so we can remember the structure of the table. So we have the ID that created at, name, phone number, and a specialization, right? I'm going to access to the SQL editor here. I'm going to create a new snippet here. This is a new snippet, and I'm going to start inserting data here. So the command will be insert into, let me add some zoom here, the table trainers. The values are going to be the name, the phone number, and the specialization, right? Name, phone number, specialization, and the values. Let me put some values here. Name, in this case, is going to be Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne. The phone number is going to be +1. Several numbers here. And here, the specialization is going to be lifting. So if you select the query and then you press here, run, this is going to return me something. And if you access here to your table, you will see that you have this new record. You see it? Okay. Yeah. Now, that's something very important. You can change the order of the columns. It's not a problem, but the values, you might need to change the values of that you're going to put here. For example, imagine that you want to put another insertion. And the columns are going to be here this way. For example, phone number, specialization, and name. As you see, it's in a different order than this one, right? You see it. Now the values needs to have the same order. So you're going to insert first the phone. Then the specialization, in this case, going to be Zumba. And this is going to be the instructor or the trainer. So as you see now, if we access to the table, we have two records now. You see it, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So this is the instruction insert. As you see, the columns, it doesn't matter that you need to put it in some special order, but the values need to do a match with the column, okay? As you see, this is the second value. It's making the match with the column and specialization. This is the name, and this is the name. You see it. Okay, now let's continue with the next instruction. The next instruction is going to be update. This instruction is very helpful if you want to modify data inside of the table. So let's go for the definition of this instruction here. So if you want to update data, guys, the syntax is going to be this one. First, you might need to put the word update, then the name of the table. Now, there is a command that is called set here. It's very important because here's where you're going to define the values that are going to be updated, okay? And it's very important that you need to put a condition because in the condition, you might need to select the record that you want to update. So let me present an update command right now. We have two records, right? We have Bruce Wayne and we have Diane Prince. Imagine that we want to update the specialization of this record. We need to know the ID of this record. And as you see, the ID of this record is the ID number 2. So we're going to update it. Update trainers set. And we're going to update that specialization. And instead of Zumba, her specialization is going to be, let's see, kickboxing. Now we need to create a condition of where we're going to update the value. So we need to be very specific with the ID of the record. So we need to grab here the ID, going to be equal to 2. Does this make sense? Guys?
Yes.
Okay, so let's run the command. And now let's go for the table. And you will see that now Diane Prince, the specialization is going to be kickboxing. You see it?
Yes.
Great. Now, if we don't have this where, guys, this is a very, very risky query because you can update the entire table. Imagine that you have 100 records and you're going to update the specialization of all those 100 records, you're going to lose data. So all the, you will see that if I will try to run this query, you will see something. I am receiving a potential problem, okay? And this is very important to understand that when you are doing an update, you need to put the condition of what record you're going to be modifying. So as you see, Postgres is giving you a message. Do you want to run this query without no where clause? Yeah, if you try to run it, you will see that now all the records in the database, the specialization is Geekbox, and you see it. And this is because we didn't put the word clause here. We missed to put here the where. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So for the ID number 1, I'm going to update the specialization, and this is going to be Kung Fu. Now we have a different specialization for the ID number 1. It's Kung Fu. You see it?
Yes.
Okay. So a very risky operation is when you don't put the word clause inside of the update. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Always make sure when you are doing an update operation to set up the expression that is going to help you to create the condition of what record you're going to be updating. Now, there is another instruction that we're going to learn, and it's this one for deletion. So this is a very risky operation too, okay? So if you see the syntax is that you're going to put here delete from, then the name of the table, then you're going to put the clause of the element or the several elements that you want to remove from your database. So let me try to create a new record because I'm going to remove this record from the database. I'm going to insert a new one. This one is going to be, let's see, the name, specialization, and the phone number, right? Now, let me show you something. If you don't pass a column, guys, that column could be blank. I'm not going to pass right now a phone number. Now, this is going to be the record for, what's the name of this? Tony Stark. So the specialization of this person would be Zumba. I'm going to insert this record. Now I have 3 records, and as you see, I didn't pass the phone number. You see it, right? So the phone number has no value. This means that's null, void. You don't have information inside of the column, okay? So the specialization is this one, and the name is this one, Tony Stark, okay? Imagine that you want to remove this element from your records. How can you do that? The syntax necessary here is this one. Delete from the name of the table, trainers, where the ID of the element is the ID number 3. Now let me put here the ID number 3. If I run the query, I mean, this is going to give me a warning, okay? Always. Now let's see why. Give me a second. I want to check if the syntax is correct. Delete from, yeah. Okay. So we have the word clause here. Let's run it. Let's run the query. Now let's select the database again. And we have removed the ID number 3. You see it? Now, if you don't put the word clause, guys, this is a more risky query because this can remove all the elements of the table. And if you don't put this kind of where, this could be a great mistake if you're running a query in production, okay? So pay attention to the word clause. So now you will see that the table is going to be empty because I have removed all the elements. And the reason is that I didn't set up the word clause. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Update and delete, those instructions are very risky. So pay attention to the word clause always, okay? Now let me insert again these 3 trainers. And we're gonna put a phone number here too. Let me insert it. Let me read the table again. I think this one was not. Oh, it's phone number, sorry. You see it? Now we have the 3 records, but with different IDs, right? We didn't restore the ID because the ID has been lost. It's the same data, but with different IDs. Okay. Now, okay, now guys, let's continue. I mean, I have explained this part, this one too, this one. Now, this is what I want you to do right now. This is an exercise. I'm going to give you 10 minutes so you can create the table of trainers. Then you're going to add a new trainer. You're going to update the specialization of an existing trainer. Then you're going to retrieve the trainers sorted by the name. Oh, yeah, don't pay attention to this part. Just retrieve all the trainers and delete a trainer by the ID. Okay, so this is an exercise that I want you to right now that you can practice this. This is the topic that I have been teaching right now. So guys, be my guest if you need some help doing this assignment. I mean, this is not an assignment, it's an exercise inside of the class. This way I'm gonna make sure that you're understanding everything that I am teaching right now, okay? Does this make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you 10 minutes. I will be, oh, sorry. I stopped presenting. Let's see.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're trying to insert trainers, first name, last name, and the problem is, okay, so it says that the column first name is not existing in the table of trainers. Can you give a right click to this option? So you can,
Oh,
here, right click. Oh, okay. Let me see. I am identifying that you don't have any table here. Oh, you have it. Okay, let's see. Trainers, can you click this? So you just have the name. You're missing more columns and the name the I mean the column is called name, not full name or first name. Does this make sense?
okay.
Yeah. So if you want to edit the table, here are three dots here. I mean that's going to add just a column.
Oh, okay.
So there are 3 dots and you can edit table. Yeah, and if you want to add more columns, you need to click here, add columns.
Oh, okay. I thought you could create them through the SQL table. I must have misunderstood then.
Okay, great. Okay, I will leave you working by yourself.
Okay.
If you want, you can stop presenting. Let's see, Frey, do you want to share your progress, or Justine, Raylan?
I'm getting
Mhm.
some kind of, like, it'll tell me success on the editor, but
Hmm?
it's not
Hitting the database. If you want, you can present. Let's check this.
oh, 1 moment. Okay. I'm trying to insert this,
Let's
into my
see.
table that already
No
exists.
records. Okay, now right
Yeah,
click.
it says no rows
No
return.
rows return. Maybe, I mean, that's a common message. That's not a problem. But as you see, it contains the word success. Okay? Because this operation is not returning data, but it's inserting data. Now the information is here. Bruce Wayne and Daffy Duck.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
See, before I didn't see the second one at all, so I was like,
My recommendation, try to duplicate this tab. You can right click here in the tab here. You can
This?
right click, right
This?
click here. No, in the top, in the tab.
Oh, up
Here.
here.
Yeah, up
Okay.
there. And there is an option that says duplicate. So in one tab, you're going to have the table, and in the other tab, you're going to have the SQL editor.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now here you can go to the SQL editor so you can continue creating queries, and you can be moving around, okay?
Okay. I do have one question though. Is it possible to put in more than one?
Yes, yes, it is. Do you want me to show you how?
Yes.
Okay. Let's update these values so you can put different values here.
All right.
And everybody, this is a good idea if you pay attention to do this.
Okay.
Okay, now remove the semicolon, and instead of having a semicolon there, you're going to place a comma. You can separate a new record. Now press enter and open again different values. So open, yeah, and put different
Gotcha.
values now. So you can put
Okay.
as many values that you want.
Okay,
And try to put
perfect.
another. Yeah, just I just want to make sure that you are going to put another one. Now remember, it's a text, so you need to put the simple quotation marks. Simple. Yeah. Now put a semicolon there because you're going to end the instruction here. You can put if you want to put 10, if you want to put 100, it's not a problem there. Now select it and press run. Run.
Wait, how can I move this?
Now let's go here. Refresh the website. You see them?
Yeah, yes.
Great, great.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Remember that you need to update a record, remove a record too. Okay, so try to practice that part too. I will
Okay.
continue presenting. Yeah. I will place a screenshot of the exercise in our chat. Okay, guys, give me 2 minutes. I will return. 2 minutes. Tammy, do you want to present?
Sure.
Great, great. Okay, let me see. So here you have 3 trainers, right?
Yes.
Chris Smith, Dan Smith, and Sam Davis. Okay, can you show me the query where you update someone?
Right here.
Okay, so you updated the specialty. Great. And the last one is removing a record.
Yeah. I
You
deleted
remove
Bob.
the number 4, right? Great.
Yeah.
Great. Good job. Great, great. Excellent. Yeah, you have done. If you want, you can take a rest of 5 minutes because I'm going to resume the class in 5 minutes. Okay,
Okay.
great. Hey, are you there? Everybody? Let's see. Okay, so Frey says she's here. The other ones?
I'm here.
Okay, Raylan, Justine,
I'm here.
Tammy. Okay, let's return. Now, I'm going to do the second exercise. Let me show you. Okay, so um, for the second exercise, we're going to start creating the table of classes, okay? So we're going to insert a class. We're going to update the schedule of an existing class. We're going to retrieve all classes for a specific trainer. And we are going to delete a class by name. I mean, in this case, I'm going to put by ID because a name is not a good search. Okay, so let's start here. If you don't remember, guys, let's check here the ERD uh, in the fitness center. We said that the trainer is going to conduct many classes. That right? You remember this diagram?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have a relationship that is one-to-many. So we need to set up here a foreign key in the class table. So I'm going to create a new table, and this is going to be called class. I'm going to disable this element, security. And now I'm going to start adding columns. So let's recall this diagram. We have the date, the time, the name, the description, and the class ID. Name is going to be a text. Description, again, is going to be a text. The schedule, in this case, is going to be the time. Yeah, let's see. So we can select the data type that is this one. It's representing just the time. The date. Where you're going to be, where the trainer is going to be conducting the class. And the last part is, let's see, justice. Okay, now, what is important here is that we have a foreign key that is a one-to-many relationship. So we need to copy the primary key of the parent table. In this case, the parent table is the trainer, right? So we need to copy the trainer ID here. So let's see. The trainer ID. This is a data type int8. And we're going to set up here the foreign key. First, we need to look for the table of trainers here. And we need to grab the ID of the trainers. It is this field, right? That is just called ID right now. And I'm going to create a connection with the, let's see, sorry, this is my mistake. This is the trainer ID. This is the class table. And this is the ID for the trainer ID. So we need to save it. And we need to save the record, the table. And this is going to create the dependency of the foreign key. So if you want to insert a record here, guys, it's very important that you need to have instructors in the class, right? So, in the database, because you cannot have a class without an instructor. That's a relationship one-to-many. So we have 3 instructors here. Let's see them. Are these ones? I'm going to start inserting data in the table of classes. Now, name, description, date and time, and then we have the trainer ID. Now the values are going to be the next ones. Okay, the name of the table is going to be Zumba, description, Zumba class. The date's going to be 20, January 27, 2025. And the time is going to be on 09. And the trainer ID is going to be, we can choose 4, 5, or 6, okay? I'm going to select right now the record number 5 right now. Let's see. So I'm going to insert this record. Class. Insert into class. Oh, date. It's just day here, sorry. Let's try it again. Let me select the data. So I have here the class, Zumba. Zumba class has a description. This is the time. And this is the owner of the class. In this case, is Diane Prince. You see it?
Yes.
Great, great. Now, you need to understand that here we place a relationship one-to-many, okay? Let me add several classes, okay? Let's see. I'm going to add another table, another class. We can use a bulk insertion. We call this bulk insertion, guys, when you separate by comma. Let me add another class. In this case, it's going to be Kung Fu. Kung Fu 101. Going to be 27. And the time. In this case, we're going to do this in 6 o'clock. So I need you to understand. This is very important to understand when you're setting up the time, guys. It is in the format of 24 hours. So if you want to represent the 6 o'clock of the evening, you might need to put 18 here. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And the trainer right now is going to be trainer number 4. Let's see. Now I'm going to change this one. Zumba 2. Zumba Advanced. This is going to be at 10 a.m. of the morning. And the next class is going to be kickboxing. Cardio class. And this class is going to be at 11 a.m. And the instructor is going to be the instructor number 6. Okay, now let's see. How many records do we have here? So as you see, we have 4 records, right? You see them. Now, how many records does the trainer number 5 is going to be conducting right now? 2, right? Are these 2?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we read the definition of the assignment, there is this part of the exercise that is going to request retrieve all the classes of a specific trainer. So if you want to grab that query, if you want to create that query, you might need to do something like this. You're going to grab all the elements from the class table where the trainer ID is going to be equal. You can choose any trainer ID that you want, but in this case, I'm going to choose the trainer ID number 5 so we can get 2 records, okay? And if you see, this is going to return 2 elements. You see them?
Yes.
This section. Okay, so the where instruction, when you're selecting, this can filter data. Instead of returning all the records, you can filter records of one specific ID. Does this make sense?
Yes.
If I place here the ID trainer number 10, how many records this is going to retrieve right now? No records, right? Because we don't have a trainer ID number 10. You see, 0 row return. You see it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now, the trainer ID number 4 has one class. And it's the Kung Fu class. The trainer ID number 6 going to return one class. Okay, so this is the third instruction of the exercise. Now we're going to update the schedule of one existing class. So let's return here to the query editor here, and I'm going to update one class. So the statement that we need to place here is going to be this update statement, then the name of the class. Now we are going to set or update the value of one column. This case is going to be the time. We're going to put a class. Let me see which class we can update. The class number 1 is going to be at 7 a.m. right now. Okay, so let's put 07. This is hour, time, and second. Okay, where the ID of the class, let's see, it's just call ID the column, it's equal to 1. This is going to update the schedule of one class, okay? Let's get the data again. And as you see, the Zumba class is this one. Has a new time, right? At 7 a.m. You see it? Now, the last part of the assignment is that we need to remove a record from the database using the ID. So I'm going to remove this one, the element number 2, okay? So I'm going to remove this record. So the way to do that is that we're going to delete from class where the ID is equal to 2. Now let's run this. This is going to give me a warning because this is a potential destructive operation. So now we just have 3 elements, 1, 3, and 4. Okay, now let's continue with the presentation, and we're going to talk about the best practices right now. Always, when you're going to, always test your queries in a safe environment before applying the live to live data. What does this make sense? What does this mean? It means that imagine that you are trying to delete records in the production database and you forgot to put the word class. This is going to mess up all your customers. Does this make sense? So what is trying to give us as an advice here is that it's important that you can create like a copy of the database as an environment of development, and you can try to run the query in that environment. If the query runs well in the environment of development, now you can run the query in production. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, that's a great advice or a best practice that you can apply if you are trying to query data in a project that is online. Okay. Now, a second best practice here is that you're going to use where to avoid unintended updates or deletions. Remember what I told you. An example. I'm going to give you something that happens in a previous job. I was working for a bank, and we were trying to create a web service there. So we were having a table of parameters. We were setting up like some values there and the parameters. And one of my partners there, he were trying to update just one parameter. But for some reason, he forgot to put the word cloud, this one. So he updated the value for all the parameters of the web service, with the number 1. So imagine how many stuff does he destroy, and he did that in production. So the where clause is very important when you are trying to update and create deletions. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So pay attention to that clause. Okay. Now, if you want, I mean, another good practice is that you could back up your data before performance significant changes. Okay. So try to create a backup of your database if you want to modify that database, and that database that operation could be a risky operation. Okay, now let's continue. I think that we have finished. We have finished with the presentation and with the lesson, guys. So the idea for today is that you can start working in the assignment number 1. As you see, the assignment number 1, guys, the idea is that you can create in your Supabase the class of trainer, the table of trainers, classes, members, and enrollments. Right now in class, we have been creating these 2 classes. These 2 tables, okay? The trainers and the classes. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Now, I am giving you here the statement so you can run the statement for creating trainers. The statement if you want to create a class. And in this case, I don't know if you notice this, but I am adding a syntax that says reference. The syntax is creating the foreign key, okay? Now this is the table creation for members, and then the table creation for enrollment. The idea is that you can copy paste this command, these query commands, so you can create the tables. Now, this is the first step, okay? Once you do that, guys, you're going to insert data. I am passing you elements. If you want, you can copy paste these elements, or you can put your own elements. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to have 5 trainers, 5 classes, 5 members, and you're going to enroll members in the class. Then once you do that, guys, you're going to select the data. Select all the trainers and so on. Okay, so you need to follow these instructions so you can understand how SQL works. Okay, now how are you going to submit this? Try to take screenshots about the queries. Okay, make sure that you have all the proper primary keys and the foreign keys. And you're going to submit every SQL script that you're going to be creating in this assignment. Okay, so if you want, you can copy paste the entire SQL script. You can take screenshots of what is happening in your database. But the idea is that this is a very easy assignment that you can practice with SQL. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, guys. So once you finish the assignment, you can dismiss the class. Let me know if you need any support, okay?
How
I
do
will
we
be here.
submit it? There's not a submission button.
There's no submission button. Let me see.
No.
Thank you. Let me see if there is something. Let me check it. See. Let me go to settings. Today is 24 or 23.
23 is today.
Let me update this part. Give me a second. Take attendance today right now. Let's see. We have here Justine, Raylon, Tammy, and Ray. Okay, let me update this. Save and display. Can you tell me if you can see the submit button right now? But we need to make a waiting time. Give me a second.
It's on there now.
It's there. Okay, great. Okay, guys, let me know if you need any support, okay? Okay, let's see. Class ID 1. Okay, so
It's doing this on two separate ones, see?
yeah, I know. Now, can you check the data that you have here, please? If you want to duplicate the queries, but well, my recommendation is that you can duplicate the tab. So you can have a place where you can select data and another place where you can do the operation. If you right click there, right click here, and there's this option that says duplicate tab. Great. Now, here you're going to access to the table editor. Yeah, table editor. Yeah. Can you click this table, please? Classes. Okay, so as you see, the table of classes is empty. You might need to insert data here. If you scroll a little bit to the top here. Okay, so here are 5 examples of classes. If you can grab this query, the entire query. I mean, that's for table creation. We are trying to add data to the table. Scroll a little bit to the bottom. Let's see here, the section number 2 here. Okay, so as you see, you need to have, I mean, this is, so you can, I mean, can you check how many trainers you have here, please? So the table of trainers is empty too.
No, I had them in there. Remember I showed you, look.
Let me see. But you insert them. Do you select the query and run it here?
Yeah, I did earlier. I don't know what happened to it.
Hit run
This
there.
is the one that I showed you. Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to the other tab. Let's see the table. Select trainers. Okay, now you have trainers.
They were all there. I don't know how I erased them.
Maybe I forgot to run the query. I mean, this is a beginner mistake. No problem with that. My recommendation is that you can add right now the trainers, then the classes. Okay, so here you have the query for the classes. Click here. Okay, insert this data. Okay, now let's go here again. So you can check if you have classes right now. You see?
Oh,
Now, something is weird because as you see, the IDs are not starting in the number 1. So, for example, if you want to enroll someone to the ID class number 1, this is going to fail because you don't have that class ID, but you have the 11, 12, and so on. So my recommendation is that you can edit this query when you are enrolling people and you need to update a class that is really existing in your database, okay?
okay. Why did it act like that?
I think you add them. I think that you add them. For some reason, they are not right now there. Maybe a deletion was run and you didn't notice. Maybe that could happen because I don't know the entire thing that is happening in your database, okay? But that's my suspicious. Okay, now you need to add members first so you can enroll members, okay? Oh, you have members? Okay, now you might need to enroll them in the class of enrollment. So this is the queries so you can enroll the people. Okay, so my recommendation, you need to update these foreign keys, the class ID, okay? Because you don't have those ID. You have the 11, 12, 13, and so on. Does this make sense?
Okay, so make these 11, 12.
Yeah, but remember the class ID is the second one, the second value. The first value is no. Return here. Return to the query, please.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you are trying to insert into the table of enrollment. The first column is
Is the member
reference of the member ID. So the first value, this one, is the member ID, but the second value is the class ID. What you need to update is the second. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 and so on.
I don't know how they got changed.
Yeah, it will happen, no problem. Okay, so that operation is enrolling people in your classes, okay?
Okay.
Great, great. Okay, if you click here, you're going to identify the member. Great, if you click here, you can identify the class.
Okay.
Okay, great. If you want, you can stop presenting, okay? Okay, guys, does anyone else need support? Okay, I'm recording. Okay, can you repeat the question, Justine? Oh,
Okay, so
yeah.
I was just talking about the error here that I'm receiving when I'm trying to delete from the
Yeah,
classes number file.
that's a great question. Let me explain you what's going on here. You are trying to remove the class that is called Zumba Fun, right? But the thing
Yes.
is that we have a foreign key with the enrollments. So the record Zumba Fun is a parent record of some enrollments. Okay, this means that you have people enrolled in the class. So when you are using foreign keys, this could happen. You cannot delete a parent record if you have child records. You cannot have orphan records in a database. Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So my recommendation is that if you want to remove the class Zumba, first you need to remove the enrollment of the Zumba student. So the first deletion must be remove the Zumba student. That's in enrollments. So click here to check. I mean, in the class ID, if you click the arrow, that's going to give you the name of the class. Yeah, click there. Zumba Fun. So that's the ID number 8. So my recommendation, delete this record number 18. Okay, just select it. And now remove it.
Delete the row like this.
Yeah, yeah. Now you will be able to remove the Zumba class because the Zumba class now do not have child records. You see?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's a restriction that you are learning right now. You cannot remove a parent record without removing the child record, okay? Great,
All right. Thank you.
great. You are welcome. Hello, everyone. Everybody. Looking right now to dismiss the class. Okay, so see you tomorrow. Okay. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.